Hello, my name is Chris Doyle, the head strength and conditioning coach at the University of Iowa, and we're here today to talk about linear and lateral speed development. First and foremost, we have to remember that we're training athletes, not track stars. We want to keep things simple. Stride length and stride frequency are the two ways that we can improve linear speed. We develop stride length by developing our body's ability to apply force against the ground. We improve stride frequency by becoming more efficient as a runner. Now, force production. How do we improve the ability to apply force against the ground? It's improved by ground-based power development, exercises such as clean, snatches, squats, also your jump training. You can also improve our ability to apply force against the ground through the acceleration drills that we'll demonstrate today, as well as resistive speed drills that we'll see on our video following. You can improve stride frequency by improving neuromuscular conditioning, teaching and practicing running mechanics, also through developing coordination and assistive speed work, all areas that we will discuss today in the video. I want to emphasize the importance of investing your time in force production training, your ability to push against the ground. The harder you push against the ground, the higher you jump and the faster you will run. There's a higher transfer rate with force application training to the field. There are long-term effects that are generated. Once athletes gain power and strength, those effects tend to carry with them throughout competitive athletic seasons. And third, it's specific to sport. Whether you're running forward or changing direction, when you develop that lower body strength and ability to push against the ground, that will carry with you throughout your athletic career. I'd like to talk to you about acceleration training versus top speed training. Acceleration is the ability to attain maximum speed in the shortest amount of time. Acceleration is more critical to athletic success than top speed. Top speed is rarely achieved on the athletic playing fields and courts. When you look at basketball players, football players, even baseball players, it's rare that an athlete achieves top speed in an athletic environment. Thus, it's more important for us to invest our time in acceleration training to help improve our performance in sport. The second half of our video presentation today is directed towards lateral speed development. Developing the ability to move laterally is critical to athletic success. Oftentimes, people spend a great amount of time working on linear speed, running straight ahead, and are negligent in the time that they spend developing lateral speed. Here at Iowa, with our football program as well as other athletes, we believe that the 40-yard dash is often overrated. We spend about 70% of our time developing the ability to change direction and move laterally. The additional benefit of change of direction training and lateral speed work is the reduction of athletic injuries. The majority of injuries occur in athletics during deceleration, when the body comes under control. By working that change of direction in lateral speed mechanics, you'll greatly improve your body's ability to come under control, thus reducing the risk of injuries to the lower extremities. Here at Iowa, we use PAL mechanics. PAL mechanics that we've learned from Vern Gambetta, who's a prominent strength coach. PAL mechanics is an acronym for three words that describe our mechanics drills: posture, arm action, and leg action. The first thing that we'll do is teach our athletes proper posture. Proper posture for our athletes is a raised position up on the toes with their hips tall, chest is up, a slight forward body lean with the shoulder, glutes and abs are tight. From here we'll perform a lean fall run. Again, teaching our athletes to run with proper posture. Proper posture is a hips tall position. This next drill is called a lean fall run with a partner. Now the strength coach or partner will actually hold the athlete upright. Once the athlete gets in that nice hip tall position, the athlete will lean into the coach. The coach will step to the side, dropping the athlete as the athlete runs out of that starting position, the nice hips tall posture. Arm action. Arm action to us means rotation at the shoulders. Elbows are flexed at 90 degrees. We're looking for the athlete's thumb to move from his chin to his hip pocket. This is called the seated fast arm drill. It will help teach our athletes proper arm action. While sitting on the ground, starting in slow motion, moving from our chin to our hip pocket, we'll drive the elbows back. Make sure the athlete's arms are moving forward and back. You do not want to cross over the front part of the body. We'll normally perform 5 seconds slow, followed by 5 seconds fast in this movement for 3 sets. Another exercise that we use is called giant swings. We're teaching the athletes to rotate at the shoulder, gradually progressing from an arm straight position into an arms flexed at 90 position. Once we get down to 90, we'll work a fast tempo. Thumb is moving chin to hip pocket, keeping the elbows in, rotating at the shoulder. Again, we'll progress from straight arms down to an elbows flexed at 90 position. Now I'll hammer the elbows back, chin to hip pocket, elbows in, rotating at the shoulder. The last set of drills are our leg action drills. For us, at Iowa, proper leg action means keeping the knee up and the toe up, striking the ground underneath the hip. Here the athlete is doing a wall strike exercise where he is developing the ability to strike the ground underneath the hip, coming from a good flex position. Notice the athlete's knee is high, knee up, toe up, strike the ground underneath the hip. You can use a fence or a pole or even a partner to execute this movement. The athlete strikes the ground aggressively, producing force against the ground underneath the hip. Another leg action drill that we use is our high knee skip. With good posture, good arm action, we're focusing now on the legs. Knee up, toe up, striking the ground underneath the hip. Each time the athlete should step over the opposite knee and strike the ground directly right down underneath the hip. This is called a power skip. In a power skip, we're emphasizing force application, driving the back leg through the ground. We're looking for height and distance as the athlete progresses down the field. The most important factor is that force application against the ground, producing height and distance. High knee run. The athlete starts with a good hips tall posture. It's important that you remember to always use good posture and good arm action as you execute your leg drills. Here the athlete is stepping over the opposite knee, striking the ground underneath the hip, working on his high knee action. By improving your running mechanics, you'll greatly increase stride frequency as well as stride length. Our progression through a typical training cycle is to move from non-competitive drills to competitive drills to pure competitive drills. Now we will demonstrate some of our acceleration drills, starting with the single leg start. In athletics, it's important that an athlete is equally as explosive off his right leg as he is his left leg. Oftentimes, athletes will be a single side dominant, meaning they prefer to push off their right leg or the left leg. However, in athletics, we cannot predetermine which leg we'll always start with. So it's important that we work both the right leg and the left leg in our single leg start. Here the athlete will, standing on one leg, flex at the ankle, knee, and hip, and sink his center of gravity down to drive off a single leg and run through 10 yards. Again, if we do it on our right leg, we'll also execute the same movement on our left leg with the idea that we'll develop explosiveness on both the right and left leg. Some movements that we use in order to build acceleration, developing the body's ability to apply force against the ground, is called the ground start. Here we start laying flat on our chest with our chin on the line. We'll explosively, as quick as we can, get up and sprint 10 yards. Here is a ground start laying on the back. The athlete will quickly and explosively get up and run for 10 yards, trying to be aggressive with a violent push-off as he runs. Remember, acceleration comes from force application. How hard do you push against the ground will dictate how fast you run. Here's an exercise done while laying on your back. Get up and run 10 yards. This is called a push-up start. In this position, the athlete is in a push-up position. He brings one leg up underneath his chest, flex at the ankle, knee, and hip, and he'll drive off that single leg. It's important here that the athlete drives out and not up. We want to discourage the athlete from standing up. We want to encourage the athlete and coach the athlete to run forward, gaining ground, pushing down the field. We'll also use resistive sleds in our acceleration training. Here it's important that we apply the 10% rule, meaning we will not put more than 10% resistance on the sled. We use the body weight as a guideline. For example, a 200-pound athlete would not use more than 20 pounds in this movement. Here, we want to mimic the same starting mechanics we would use if we were being tested in a 10 or a 40-yard dash. It's important in that starting position that the athlete gets up and crowds the line, his hips are higher than his shoulders, and his weight is distributed on his front hand and front foot. We don't want any wasted motion as we come out of the starting position. If the weight were too heavy, we would lose the specificity of training, and it wouldn't correlate to good sprinting mechanics. Another tool we use is a rope and a belt. Here, the athlete simply puts on a football belt or any belt that's available to you, and just using some basic rope that can be bought at a hardware store, we will use the rope for resistance. Remember, resistive sprint training increases your ability to apply force against the ground, thus increasing stride length. Here, the coach or partner will apply about 10% resistance to the athlete, always focusing on good posture, arm action, and leg action. This next drill is called a rope release, where the athlete will accelerate out for 5 yards. At that point, The coach will release the athlete using a contrast methodology, allowing the athlete to now run freely at top speed. Tennis ball drops are also an outstanding exercise to develop the ability to accelerate. Here the coach will line up 4 to 6 yards in front of the athlete. The cue for the athlete to start is the tennis ball. When the coach drops the tennis ball, the athlete will take off, low to the ground, pushing as hard as he can, violent push-off, sprinting down the field in an attempt to catch the ball before it hits the ground a second time. Some more advanced training that we use is called a hop to a sprint. This exercise is actually a triple jump to a sprint, where the athlete will bound off of single leg, right, left, right, and then continue by sprinting down the field. He is trying to increase his stride length as he bounds down the football field.